work this time. So we're not going to be playing our song because we had to tell YouTube that we have permission to use it. So we're not going to put it on until it responds to the copyright thing that it sent me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can turn this around just for a second. I want to put, we've got a lot done in the last 24 hours. So I got a lot to share with you.
Yes.
Good stuff, positive things. Let's go ahead and put that in there to start with. And if you notice, we've got it up on the screen up here. You can buy Brandy a coffee right there through that QR code, and or buy me a coffee right here through this one. And so I guess the first thing that I wanted to tell y'all is that I finished my book, and
I'm
it's
excited.
available on Kindle. And if you've got Kindle Unlimited, or you can just get the PDF for $9.99. And I have ordered the proof for the paperback copy. So as soon as I get it and see if it's okay or edits or what, then we'll have a paperback copy as well. And that is my memoir. Um, and also, we've got the handmade jewelry uh, set up, and you can access that through the buy me a coffee link, or you can go to our Shopify, and that is appledreams.myshopify.com. So we've got a lot happening today, and we got monetized on Facebook and finally got approved for memberships on YouTube.
And we're excited. We said we'd have a little celebration kind of.
Yeah. And I just hit 5,000 followers on TikTok, so that's something else to celebrate. Um, okay, I might go off screen for a minute so that I can find my script and pull it up on our topic today. Um, you ready, Brandy? Have you got yours ready?
I am trying to find it and I'm having a problem.
Okay,
That's what
I
I'm
sent
over
it to your
here.
email.
Okay. All right. Let me go. Let me go find.
Okay.
Okay. Hang on.
Okay.
I've been having phone difficulties for what, a week now?
I know, me too. I'm always having technical difficulties. It never fails.
This is new to me. You know,
Yeah. You're doing great, though.
I'm a learning.
Yeah. You're doing just fine. Get this to stay right there. I'll be in
Okay.
better shape. Okay.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay. It would probably be helpful if I could look at it on a different screen. But anyway, welcome back, beautiful souls. We're going to be taking a deep dive into personal growth, spiritual awakening, and turning life's challenges into your superpower. I'm Tya.
And I'm Brandy. And we're here to guide you through the shadows, help you reclaim your power, and yes, sometimes laugh at ourselves along the way because let's be real, healing can be messy, but it's magical. So,
Yeah. So
and
today
we
we're
put
going to,
humor in everything.
yes, we try to when we can at least. Hell, if I didn't laugh, I'd be crying all the time.
Yep.
So,
So, stick with us. We've got stories, exercises, a little bit of witchy wisdom to sprinkle throughout.
yes. And today we're going to be talking about something that we all face at some point, which is trauma, setbacks, and how, yesterday we did transmute your trauma. I'm sorry. I knew that
Bless
was
you.
coming. I was trying to hold it. Transmute your trauma, your pain into power. And today we are going to be talking about how to transmute that energy into strength, clarity, and purpose. So let's start with a big concept: shadow work. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Essentially, all the parts of yourself that you've hidden, pain, shame, anger, they shape your life until you acknowledge them.
Yeah, and we was talking about that this morning. You diagnosed me, because I do. After every time we do a show, I beat myself up horribly. Um, I don't. Sometimes I feel like my story's not important, or I, you know, I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't validate my own um traumas. But shadow work isn't about being bad or wrong. It's about meeting your own humanity, accepting it, learning from it. Think of it like cleaning out the attic. You might find some dusty, scary stuff, but it also find treasures you forgot you had.
Exactly. For instance, I realized a lot of my self doubt came from childhood experiences where I was told I wasn't enough. Once I started acknowledging that, I could start rewriting the story.
And for me, anger. Anger used to be my shadow monster. Once I stopped running from it, I learned it was actually a compass pointing me towards what I valued the most.
Right. So, if
Hi, Sophie.
you want to do a little mini exercise, just close your eyes and ask yourself, what part of me have I been ignoring?
Yeah. Write it down without judgment. This is your first step towards transforming into power.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Now that we've met our shadows, how do we grow from here? I want to share a few practical tools that have helped me, and trust me, they're simple but effective. The first one is journaling. Write
Oh,
5 minutes
yes.
a day about emotions or experiences. Don't filter, just let it flow. I call it brain dumping for the soul. Seriously, it's like clearing energetic clutter. Tool two, affirmations and intentions. Speak your truth daily, even if it feels awkward. An example is: I am whole, I am capable, I am worthy of love and abundance.
And I have to work on that one. I mean, I'm still in the trenches with a lot of this because I beat myself up daily. I mean, just you know,
Yeah.
and Ty helps me a
Affirmations,
lot. She gets me through a lot
affirmations
of it.
are key, and I like them in music format. Um, Artists like Shannon Blake or Moonlight Scorpio, Peachka, people like that. I love music like that. That's like it just reinforces the things that I need to be telling myself constantly anyway. So like,
Yeah,
a better little tune to have in your head than a catchy little affirmation to remind you that to massage your tits because you're the shit. You know.
yeah.
So
And these just, these aren't like woo woo and witchcraft and this and that, because some people,
this is science.
that word kind of, yeah, and they get, but, there's nothing wrong with writing down your thoughts and, trying to work through things with journaling and, music and things to kind of guide you through prayer, you know,
Yeah. Um. Well, like you would turn to prayer more, but like me, I would
yeah.
turn more to rituals or like a mindful practices, like lighting a candle, working with crystals, or meditating with music, or just in silence. Like God says, be still and just
Be
listen.
still.
Yeah, and that's when you'll hear Him speak. Um, and here's a bonus tip: celebrate small wins. Healing is rarely a straight line. Every time you honor yourself, you're moving forward.
Yep. Baby steps. I tell Ty all the time I'm baby steps, you know.
Yes. See, our next segment is transmuting trauma.
Okay, let's talk about trauma. We've all been there: heartbreak, betrayal, loss, sometimes all at once. But there's a secret trauma. But there's a secret trauma can be transformed.
It's all about alchemy, turning pain into purpose. One method I love is rewriting the story. You take an event and reframe it, not to erase the pain, but to find the lesson and growth in it.
Yes, for example, a past relationship that ended painfully taught me how to set boundaries. Instead of wallowing, I could say this hurt led me to value myself more, to, you know, appreciate me, or, you know, the qualities I do have.
Yeah. Another tool is movement, dance, walk, yoga, anything that gets the energy out of your body instead of letting it stay stuck. Trauma isn't just in your mind, it's in your body.
And then if you're like me and your body don't necessarily work all the time, of course, you know, support networks, friends, coaches, therapists, people who can witness your journey without judgment. No one heals in isolation. And that was a big one for me, a big
Mm-hmm.
one, because I have been so isolated for so long. And like I was saying the other night, I appreciate so much just having this little community to share with and talk to and kind of work things through together, kind of as a, like I said, we're our own little family or tribe or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so here's another little mini reflection. Just take a moment, close your eyes, think of one painful experience. Ask yourself, what lesson or strength has come from this? And you might be surprised what shows up. Spiritual alignment. Healing is great, but personal development goes beyond survival. It's about thriving, and that means aligning with your spiritual purpose.
That doesn't mean you need to have a mission statement on a scroll. It means listening to your inner guidance, noticing your passions. Oh, sorry, guys. Noticing your passions and acting on what lights you up.
Sometimes you're moving in alignment. Synchronicities, gut nudges, moments of clarity, even small intuitive hits count.
I was trying to turn those down. Sorry. um, And when you honor them, your confidence grows, your energy shifts, and you start attracting the right people and opportunities. Think positive, and positive comes.
Yes. Um, Write down one action you can take this week that aligns with your higher purpose.
It could be reaching out to someone, starting a project, or simply carving out time for yourself, which is hard sometimes, but
Yes.
needed, very needed.
Yeah.
I took a bath, instead of a jump in and get clean, I took a bath. Like I was in there for a long time.
Yes. Some self care, soak it away.
Yes.
I like to add some things to my bath sometimes, some herbs, even crystals. Keep a salt block in there, like a Himalayan salt rock. Um,
Mine's
like my
candles.
self care time is priceless to me, and my peace
Mine's
it
oh,
can't be
sorry.
bought. Yeah,
Mine's candles. I light them. I'll light them up everywhere.
yeah.
And take me a good just soak.
All right, let's recap. So today we explored shadow work, meeting the parts of you that you've been avoiding, tools for personal development, journaling, affirmations, and mindful rituals, transmuting trauma, rewriting stories, moving energy, and seeking support, aligning with your spiritual purpose, listening to intuition and acting on it.
And remember, it's a journey, not a sprint. Some days are magical, some are messy, but every step matters.
Before we close, I want to leave you with a little ritual. Take a deep breath, place your hand over your heart, and silently say, I honor my journey. I embrace my power. I am enough.
Feel that energy shift. That's you claiming your life back.
All right. Thank you so much for
our
joining us
tribe.
today and transmuting our pain into purpose. And we hope that you feel empowered and inspired and ready to turn your challenges into your superpower.
If you love today's episode, share it with a friend, leave a review, or connect with us on our social media. And remember, your journey is sacred. Your story is very important, and your light, it really matters.
It really does. So, next time, we'll be diving into energy clearing and manifestation for beginners, practical tips that you can start today.
And until then, keep shining, keep healing, and keep laughing.
That's right.
And count on each other. We
Right.
can, we can.
Yes.
Like I said, I love our little community, oh,
Absolutely.
supportive and everything. So
Yeah.
we'll read the comments and answer and
Yeah. We'll do comments and answer some questions and stuff. And
talk. Just talk.
just
Sometimes it's
present.
important just to talk.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Hey, Salty.
Hey,
Yes,
Genevieve.
it's handmade jewelry. The only ones that I've got posted so far are the ones made of clay, but I have different mediums that I'm working on. So I'm trying to learn to work with silver clay. Write down what no longer serves you. Yes, that's the idea of the trauma pinata. That's we're
Yeah,
wanting to put put write down what no longer serves you and put it in the trauma pinata. Whatever it is that harmed you, hurt you, whatever you need to let go of.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Mine here lately
it's
has
easy.
been um, missing the kids and just wanting so bad to communicate with them. So I've been putting my ideals into a little book for them that I can read to them. Maybe a chapter a night. And it's a little adventure that Tony and Scarlett go on. So I'm really
I can't
excited.
wait. I can't wait to see it and illustrate it.
Yes, because I can't even draw stick figures. So I'm wanting Ty to kind of put some
That ain't
pictures and stuff.
can. Annie's an artist, so I got this.
Yep, and he's got
We'll
it.
take care of it. Ladies, you remember you have some more support than you realize. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I want
Thank
to thank you
you.
all for everybody that's donated and stuff so far and that's got us this far. All your support, sharing us out, the likes on the post. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're
Yes.
new here. If you're new here, welcome. So we have quite a few projects going, and
it's.
that's okay.
I
I'm
mean,
excited about it.
it really is. It's exciting because like we've been talking a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on in our community, and there's a lot of wrongdoing on a lot of people, but nobody's talking about trying to help heal. You
I know.
know,
Yeah.
so you've got people walking around hurt, lost, bitter, angry, mad. And it's time to start trying to heal too. You know, from a lot of this because it's a lot for people to kind of deal with and not just like where this is becoming public. I'm talking about the actions that have been done to them that led to this. Some of us has kept quiet for, well, myself, I've kept quiet for 20 years, you know just not really, just getting pushed and pushed and pushed and until I snapped. It hurt me. And so um and not everybody, it's not a out to get you situation. It's a, I need help and I need to heal and I need to get better. And
And until they start acknowledging that we have been harmed, then
right.
how can they get the healing and the resources that they need?
Yeah.
So that's
And we have been taught so much to, I don't like to keep it all internally, and you know, it's just something you carry around with you. And that's like I diagnosed me this morning, us talking and stuff. Um, about things. When we talk about these stories and things, when I say we, I get just this overwhelming guilt. Like my story isn't as important, or mine. I don't want to. Um,
Do you feel like you're taken away from other
Others, yeah,
survivors
yes, it
by
does.
sharing your trauma?
Yeah. Well,
Or is it
I,
just because the
I,
trauma is different?
the trauma's different, but then again, I feel like you and some others have went through, gosh, such horrible things. I mean, and it's hard for me, to sit there and even try to put mine on the same level. I went through domestic violence horribly. Um, the system, with the kids, and you know, like I said, we all have a different journey and a different thing that happened. But, I just don't want anybody to be feeling like me and feel like, well, my story's not even important.
Right.
Um, my story can be on the back burner. There's other pressing issues. And then I come on here and I'll say everybody's story is like a puzzle piece.
Right.
But then I feel like my own isn't, important enough to be a puzzle piece. So, and then I got to thinking there may be people out there like me that thinks their story's not important enough, but it is. It
Right.
really is.
That's a good
It
point.
is.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that.
Because there's people thinking, Lord have mercy, I didn't go through that, but I went through this.
Right.
But,
But that doesn't
you're
make your trauma any less valid or your healing any less valuable
right,
than anyone else's.
right.
And like I was saying earlier, like how we pass trauma along to people that we're around and people we care about, um, whether intentionally or not. I guess sometimes it's intentional, but sometimes we pass on our traumas and other people get trauma like because of the traumas that we have went through.
I
And
did.
like you
I
being a
absorbed.
witness, like a firsthand witness to a lot of the things that I've been through.
Yep.
Like I mean, I see you as just being right there with me in it,
Yeah.
because like I don't see it as any less than my own trauma.
Right. And see that was, that's kind of hard for me because of, but
Yep.
I think, it's
Yes.
it's hard. It really is, and it's hard to talk about it, and it's hard to get it out. But until you do, there's not going to be a healing, any healing. I mean, I've learned so much and understand so much more now than I did before. And and I was with you guys through, you know, everything. And me, I'm a empath. My heart is huge, and when I say I feel your pain, I do. I really feel it, and it
Yeah.
just, man, it tears me apart. And then it makes me want to advocate for you, and and stuff. But then I leave my trauma over here,
Hmm.
kind of bubbling and boiling, just over here, and try to help everybody. So, I think it makes me, I don't want to come off selfish. I guess maybe I don't know. There's so many feelings I do feel. It's hard to just pin it down to one thing. But I realize I get on here, and every night I say, or every day, I'll say, listen, it's important. Your story is important. And so for me to say that, but not value my own
Go
story
back and
has
read your
been,
comments and stuff whenever you get feeling like that.
yeah. I'm horrible about not reading. the comments.
Me
I
too. Facebook is toxic sometimes, but our
yeah,
community is wonderful. So, like,
they
like that,
are
even like on TikTok and stuff, like, I rarely get anything that's any trolls or anything. And whenever
right,
I do, it's usually like I know exactly who they are or what they're doing, and
and
know that
why
they're
they're
the
doing it.
enemy and why they're doing it. So
Yeah,
it doesn't get to me and doesn't bother me. But uh, I do have a mouth, so I
yeah.
do snap back sometimes. But that's okay.
Now, see, and that's the
That's
difference.
okay.
We're
It's okay to stand
being
up for yourself. So
me and Ty are like the sun and the moon. We are. Ty is the bold, forward, and I'm the one that's kind of like
stop thinking
quiet,
I'm safe.
and she says it. I'm
Hey,
more of the
of course.
quiet. I don't want to hurt nobody or hurt nobody's feelings, and so I'm more of the stop and think about it, and then I'll end up
Second guessing.
driving myself insane, literally over. Did I say something wrong?
Right.
Did I hurt somebody's feelings? And that's part of our upbringing too.
Mhm.
You know, we were always,
Conditioned
you
thinking.
know, women or little girls are quiet. We
Be a good
mind our
girl. Be
manners
quiet.
and
Don't cause trouble. Don't make waves. Don't make trouble.
yeah,
You're to be seen and not heard.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know. And so, you come up in an environment where your biggest um goal or whatever is to be married with kids. It's not to have dreams of bigger to go to college or, you know, have your career and things. So,
Devastation is realizing when you finally realize that you have been a victim of criminal intent and the laws will not allow you to hold others accountable because of a statute of limitations. I
yeah,
can imagine how frustrating and difficult that would be.
because, a lot of people didn't even know what was being done to them was wrong
Right. They didn't even
because
know
it
that
has
their rights
went
were being
on.
violated. And that's just it. Like when it comes to civil rights, like how can there even be a statute of limitations on that?
Right, right. And,
Like we
and
looked up the sex laws about like coercion and stuff and saw that there is no statute of limitations for authorities, cops, judges, uh, attorneys, people who are in positions of power over your
positions
life
of
like
power.
that. There is no statute of limitations. It is PREA. It is, or at least the house arrest thing should have been PREA. But
I
the
believe it
trailer
was.
stuff, I mean the upstairs, the courts, any position held by a public official, there's no statute of limitations on rape. Now that I don't know, like what they are in other kinds of cases, statutes of limitations on like the other sorts that don't involve rapes.
Let's see, the healing process from the establishing boundaries. That's a big, big area for me. I have always, my whole life, I've never been able to set a boundary until here recently. I had it. Well, Ty, I can't say no, or I'm getting better.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
getting
getting
better
better.
at it,
You're getting better.
but
Yeah.
I couldn't
Hey,
say no. I don't care
same.
what it was.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I
People
would push
pleaser.
myself. You know,
People pleaser. Former people pleaser. That's been
working on
over.
it.
Yep. Let's see what we got here. What am I can't see all the
It's
comments. There we go. I couldn't tell where I was at.
got it.
Taught to be feeling police. I don't understand what that means. Did I miss something? Did I miss a
No
comment?
limits. Change the law.
Let me turn this way. That might help.
Yeah, challenge change.
Schools teach them the rules young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know that what they teach in schools on that subject. Let me just go on a little rant here about the DARE program. Did y'all know that whenever they first put the DARE program in schools, that the CIA, the government had already done all this testing and stuff on it, like, and tested it, like, how effective it was and its impact on kids. They found in these studies that it increases addiction by something like 67%. And then they put it in schools on purpose. And that
Yeah.
is declassified CIA documents.
We was talking about the things the other day. Back, let's say, I want to say maybe 2010 area, somewhere through there. You know, People in Letcher County, they had a fear. They had a fear of selling drugs or getting raided or things happening to them. And that's not there anymore. You know, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm, but there's not that deep seated, fear of, oh, well, Unite is going to come through and, clean up and clear out and things. How many drug raids has there been?
Yeah, those were crazy back in the day. Whenever they first started doing they would call it like Oxyfest
Or
or
roundups. They called them
they call them
roundup.
roundups, and they would come and they would serve like 60 or 80 indictments in one round around the
One
county. They
round.
would sweep the
They
county.
would go from house to
That's
house. I mean,
that
right
one
down the
time
road.
that I went to jail and there was 42 of us in 109 where there's 8 bunks. There was 42 women in there because of one of those roundups. They had brought so many people in. We were
That probably didn't
overwhelmed.
have
We were
nowhere to put
overwhelmed.
them.
There was people sleeping on top of the table. That was
Yeah.
back whenever gosh, I think it was the one in, I don't remember, 2005 maybe.
I know there was a
Because I was
big
only
one.
there for a few days and then I got out, and then it was like the week after that when they come to Dad's house and decided I had to go to rehab and stuff, go to detox. And
Yeah.
court ordered me without taking me to court.
Yeah. But I said, there's not that air anymore there that
Yeah.
it's like things just
Well, think about what meth does to you.
overnight.
It kills your inhibitions. It removes conscious,
Yeah.
your conscience. The devastation is realizing we already read that, didn't we? How'd I get back at the top? What is going on? Hold on. It's a fine line. I have knowledge. If you need resources, social. I do. Social.
And
I've
I
been
did.
doing a lot of reading, but social indoctrination, desensitization, and fear mongering, just plain old communism. I think it's
Yeah.
bigger than communism. It's
It's like
spiritual.
propaganda, the propaganda and everything. In school, we used to learn about our civil liberties and, the systems of government and how they work and what and I don't even know if they teach, like, is it World Civ or yes, I know they teach history, but I mean, a lot of the history stuff they teach now has
It's
changed so much.
incorrect. Yeah, it's
It's
not
not,
even.
and it's not the same thing that
No,
I learned.
no, and like the Bibles that they print today is nowhere near the full Bible that before all the translations, and whenever the Romans met to canonize it and remove big chunks of it and stuff, there's no wonder that religion has gotten so perverted and that
Changed.
people have gotten to such a disconnect with God. And that's what I was saying, like it's so much bigger than just desensitization and fear mongering. It goes so much
Yeah.
beyond that. It's spiritual. This is spiritual warfare. um your These things that they did to us, these things that they've been doing, has been designed to prevent humanity's awakening and remembering of who we are and our true divinity and our true hearts and our connection with source. It's designed to fracture our souls and our personalities so that we can't connect with the divine.
Well, in Christianity, you are to have a walk with Christ, a relationship with Christ.
In your
You know,
own heart,
your
your
own,
mind,
your heart.
using
It's
your
not
third
what,
eye.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's not what building you go to. It's not what people's around you. It's not your membership on a roll. You know, it's your relationship, your walk with Christ. So it makes it a personal, you know. So my walk is personal and different than yours or anybody else's. And so to try to clump everybody together and say, this is how you have a relationship, this is what you do, and this is how you say it, and that's not a relationship. That's a very one sided kind of, you know,
yeah.
it's not a relationship. It's not something that.
And I don't see Jesus as being sacrificed to save people's sins either. I see him as being murdered by the church, by the Romans, to take control because he awakened humanity. He woke up and he was reminding people how to wake up. He was teaching people how to look within themselves. And he went to the mystery schools and traveled the world and learned all these things. And
Well, I
then
mean, just to put a
they
question,
didn't want
kind of
him
in
to wake
there.
people up because think about it. Like whenever you go in and look at, you follow the words of Jesus
Right.
in the Bible. Look for the words in red.
There's missing 33 years if you think about it. There's the one story about him as a child, when he was around 12 or,
Yeah.
in that area,
There's
you know.
7,000 years that there's like no record for anywhere like in this area, but in Tibet, in that region, they
Yeah.
have records and they even say that they have Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ's grave. And let me tell you this about that because they say once he was resurrected, that's when he left with Mary Magdalene and went east to and lived out their days there and had
Yeah.
children and all the things. But there's a temple like where his grave is, and it's all marked, and it says this is the grave of Jesus Christ. The
Yeah.
Muslims, the Islams guard it with armed guards.
Hmm.
They
See,
won't let
I've
anybody go
never,
in and like view the sarcophagus and stuff anymore.
yeah, see,
They've got a big fence built around it. So if it wasn't something, why would they be so concerned
yeah.
with not allowing tourism and stuff there?
And that's the thing. You got to think, a lot like myself. I've not read any of the other books, like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees. There's different ones, and this is going to sound crazy, but this is just how I was raised, and those books, if they're not in there already, then you don't need it. But it puts so much context and explains a lot of things in the Bible that'll jump from here to way over here with no explanation of
Yeah,
what's going on, and it kind of fills those in. But I was even raised that things like that are not good. They're not, you're not supposed to, so it always kept me from even reading or exploring anything, because of the fear of, oh no,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
I don't want to do
And
something.
there's a few verses that speaks against like witchcraft and sorcery. Yet the parts that were removed before the Catholic Church did that, before that, the
Plus the
parts that were
changing of
removed, it's
words,
all about magic and seers and oracles and the earth
the
magic.
changing of
And
words,
they did.
the
There's
Hebrew
crystal
words.
magic. There is. I mean, even the priests in the Bible wear crystals on their breastplate to tune
Yeah.
their frequency. That's what they condemn.
Yeah.
They demonized it. Happened. They demonized it so that the people would not know that they had power.
Yeah.
That you are connected to the divine. That you cannot be separated from the divine. You cannot be separated from God
Yeah.
as his creation. You know. So, and they've completely removed the mother of the universe,
But you got to think
the
they
Sophia,
controlled
from the
us.
Bible. They took, you know how it says in the beginning, let us make them in our image? I used to think that meant aliens, right? Okay, like, but it about had to. Okay, or at least like some dynamic that I couldn't put my finger on because the Trinity just didn't make sense. That he would say, let us put it, it just didn't make sense to me. It didn't fit.
Yeah,
But then whenever I started reading the Apocrypha and the Gnostic Gospels and
yeah,
learning about the mother of the universe, the goddess, who has been exorcised from the Bible, and
yeah.
everything about us, they have tried to tell us that we are full of sin and evil for doing the natural thing that our body is meant to do, and that is to give birth to create life,
To create,
to
you
create
know,
life.
and Eve, Adam bit that apple too. He might not have been the first one to bite it, but he bit it too.
That ain't
You
why
know,
we bleed and have babies like that anyway. That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. For real.
we cursed.
Yeah. I guess
But you got to think we were
cats
all
and dogs have
raised.
periods too. So why are we the ones that's cursed? When
Sorry.
all other mammals bleed monthly or bleed regularly too when they ovulate.
Yeah. We
It's a
was
natural thing.
raised though, I
That's a
think a
natural.
lot in our
I was fucked up over that shit. Like how my body, like I couldn't control it, and the fear of going to hell for all these crazy things, impure
yeah,
thoughts and stuff, and like I would lay and pray, scared to death at night,
yeah,
that I wasn't going to burn in hell. And I
yeah.
just see that a loving, kind God isn't going to burn his creation because he made them to be born evil.
Yeah, but
He didn't
and you're
make us
not.
evil. He didn't. We are not born into sin and evil.
No.
Evil and corruption of the world
It's
can turn
what
our
creates
heart
that.
to darkness.
It hardens your heart.
The demons can turn your heart from God.
Yeah.
And like Satan said,
But I
think
feel
about
like
the
I was
greatest lie of all.
controlled
What would be the
a
greatest lie
lot.
of all? The greatest lie of all would be to convince the world that Satan is God and that God is Satan.
And Satan does not have it. He's not,
That is
you
how the
know,
world has been convinced since Middle Ages. Whenever it was that Constantine decided he was going to rewrite the Bible,
yeah.
and that's I don't know. That's
But they did control us a lot with the Bible.
with the
I mean,
yeah, yeah. That's psychological damage. I call it religious trauma.
that's
I have
me.
major religious trauma from Christianity from my church.
I remember as a kid scared to death that I was going to get up and the rapture would happen and I wouldn't be right. And I'd get up and my whole family be gone, and as a kid that
Yes, Genevieve.
scared me, terrified me. I was always scared they were going to go and I wasn't going to make it because I wasn't, I couldn't stop sinning, you know, I was, but and like you said, it's a thing that is, you know, natural or, you know, so, but yeah, I went years as a child thinking, his mom and dad went somewhere and I didn't know where they was at, and back then we didn't have cell phones. So, I was like, oh no, they left and I'm here.
I remember going to an Easter play when I was real little, and they turned down the lights. They had these black curtains hung up over the screens, and or over the like over the whole stage, like just big black curtains, floor to ceiling. And they turned all the lights off, and it was real quiet. And then you just started hearing somebody moan, hearing women moan, and they get louder and louder and louder until they were screaming bloody murder.
Screaming.
And they were shining like orange and red lights, like strobe lights behind the curtain to make it look like hellfire and stuff.
Them
And
passion
this at an
plays is what it
Easter
is.
play.
Oh
This
my
at an
God.
Easter play celebrating Jesus' murder, and they are sitting there telling us that, yeah. we're gonna burn and be tortured for all eternity because as a 4-year old, I shouldn't be having impure thoughts.
And as a
What?
4-year-old, you don't know what an impure thought
I
is. So
right.
you think if you
I was
think,
so confused, and I thought I was
you know,
bad all the time.
yeah,
I thought I was bad all the time. Yeah,
yeah.
it fucked
Well,
me
I'll
up.
tell you what, like a personal thing with me that this is when I quit like attending church. When I got pregnant with Caleb, I had only been with one person up to that point, their father, I
Mhm.
hadn't, I didn't date through high school. Anybody that knows me and him was together since I was, the end of my eighth grade, freshman year, somewhere in there. And I was told, well, everybody, kind of wanted us to get married, and like my family did. And they was like, it'll be okay. But, um, everybody was still kind of pushing us to get married, because I was pregnant and stuff with Caleb. And I remember they wouldn't marry us until I had the marital counseling. And I thought, okay. So I made it to the second one. And I was told that because me and their daddy had fornicated and we had committed, the sin and everything, that there was a possibility that God could punish me by causing me to either lose the baby or he would be born with something wrong with him.
Yeah.
And in my heart, I had preterm labor the whole
When the
time I was
scripture
pregnant.
where your body is still a child, and that if there was a
Mm,
problem, that would probably be the real cause of it. That a
the
girl was,
real cause of it, yes.
yeah, but they're
Yeah.
trying to twist it up and make you think that it would be your fault
It
because
would
you
be my fault.
right.
Yeah. And so, I went home and I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And I remember going to dad and telling him, Dad, I'm hurt, because where I'd had preterm labor, I had almost lost him 1,000 times. I stayed in the hospital. He was such a big baby. And so, I had no idea in my mind, that's what my punishment, But the more I thought about it, and when he come out perfect, um, I thought, man, I can't get behind that. I just, because we didn't have that little piece of paper that said marriage on it, but in my heart, I hadn't committed any sin. The only man I had ever been with was their daddy. And, he was my husband. And like in my eyes, and I feel like in God's eyes too, that he was my husband. But because of that little piece of paper, you scare somebody to death and make them feel like, well, if something happens to your baby, it's your fault, because you committed sin. And I never could in my brain put the two,
You can
you
reconcile.
know, t- I just couldn't do it. So at that point, um, I would go to church on Father's Day because, dad, that was what he wanted. And
Yeah.
I'd always go. But it was really hard for me to even get back into church or, because in my heart, I didn't feel that the pastors and had my best interest or what, or even try to help me build a relationship. It was just, you did this. This was wrong. You're going to be punished. There you go. And it's going to punish your children, which, there is some truth. Our sins do fall down on our children. They do, but I think it's more our consequences
Mm-hmm.
is what falls on them. It's, not so much what we do. And, it's the consequences of the things we do that fall on them. But, I went for a good 5 years, just absolutely, torturing myself, thinking, I did something wrong. I did something wrong when, you know, like I said, in my eyes, I was married to him. You know, I had never. you know. So, but that was just a little example of, kind of how our area works. How it's so easy to play the woman out to be a Jezebel or a Jezebel
Right.
spirit,
Feral
you
spirit
know.
works it. And it makes me wonder, like, is the Jezebel spirit really even evil? Like, or was she righteous?
Well, the thing of it is, I mean, she was a queen, and her and her husband both were, I mean, mean, I guess you'd say, but you never hear, you know, did they call men? Oh, who was her? When Nimrod, or no, was Nimrod her husband? Ah, y'all, I can't remember. I'm sorry. My Bible is like knowledge is very out there, but you always hear about that Jezebel spirit, you know, and things. But they also talk about the woman at the well,
Hmm.
you know, um,
Look how
and look
many
how
liberated their people from principalities, from
you
their
got Esther and
oppressors.
you
Yes,
know
yeah. There's many
Queen
of them.
Esther.
That was my response to his post whenever he called me Jezebel. Said, "Well, you're almost there. You about got it."
Keep trying, keep trying.
Because she wanted to stand up for her God. The God that she grew up.
Right,
She didn't like.
Genevieve.
Attacked her God and stripped her of her religion and her people of their religion. That's not
Yeah.
okay. It doesn't matter if they believe like you or not. You don't take someone else's. You don't insult somebody else's God.
Well, um, the Bible's full of those women that
And
were strong and stood up, but you
well, that's
never hear them. You never hear a Sunday service about, the great things that they did, and Genevieve just commented, about how it's not evil. It's, you
Jezebel,
know,
strong woman, and the men folk didn't like her because she was more powerful than them. That's right.
yeah. So, let's destroy her character. Let's destroy everything about her. And let's historically stick her out there as some brazen hussy, and she's oh,
And that's something else. Do you know what the meaning of the word apocalypse is? Doesn't mean end of the world. It
no,
means
I didn't.
the revealing, the great
That
awakening.
revealing.
We're in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and it's just one of them things.
Look here. Wait. I don't know who it was that said this. Let me put this back up here. People don't
Okay.
understand the differences between Satanism and Luciferianism. I've studied various beliefs for years, and it took engaging with people of various faiths and beliefs to understand. Yet
Right.
I've met good people from both religions, from both belief systems. Um, and Satanists, it's not that they worship a devil; it's
Not at all.
they
They
believe
believe in nothing.
in ability and like self autonomy.
Yeah.
Like yeah, and with doing good deeds for your neighbor and spreading like kindness.
Well, their quote or their is, do let's see, do as thou wilt, but harm ye none, or
And
something to that effect.
yeah, that's so we can read too the law of witches. Do as you will, just harm none. Like
Harm none.
what you put out, you do get back. Karma is very real, and you can go out willy nilly hexing people and doing dark magic on them and stuff, but it's going to bite you in the ass every damn time. So use God's reversal magic. He wrote the spells himself in his Bible. Look up the Psalms. There's lots of protection Psalms. That's what that is. Those are spells.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, we was talking the other night about granny witches,
Yeah.
which were basically women in the mountains that delivered babies and um, medication and herbs and everything else. And nobody really questioned the granny witches, but they wasn't called that. But if I'm not mistaken, the word is, witch is from Old English, and it means wise woman.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it means.
It does. It does.
Wise woman.
woman.
And so, here you had all these grannies that had all this knowledge that had been passed down from, back before they crossed over to come here from England and places, Scotland, Ireland, places, the Celts, whatever. And, they used the Bible as their, what would you call it? Like a spell book kind of, but,
Re-
and they did. They
Yeah,
used Psalms.
I still
They're,
do.
yep,
Um,
for
and
getting rid of spirits, evil
the
spirits.
rituals that people perform in church. You go to Catholic church, you're burning incense, lighting candles.
Hmm.
Same thing whenever you go to a Christian church around here. You go down here to the Baptist church, you're going to take community, eat the blood and body of Christ.
Yeah, communion.
Ritual. That is
Yeah,
magic. That is magic.
yeah.
It doesn't matter how you look at it, those are ritual magic.
Event or things, yeah.
Yeah. Aunt
So,
was a grandiose narcissist. Yes, he was. And I don't know if you know this about him or not, but he was also in the CIA and headed the. Have you heard? I know you've all heard of MK Ultra, but have you heard of MK Often? That came before MK Ultra, and it was the occult studies where they
Anton LaVey
dealt
was also
with like
best friends
demons and stuff.
with
Um,
some
and Anton LaVey headed that project.
astrophysicist that was working with nuclear, stuff and everything. And I can't think of his name, but, they
Werner,
leaned a lot into Crowley and all that,
yeah,
like sex magic and things like that. So, you know,
Werner was it or what's his name? Werner von Werner.
can't think of his name. He was like an astrophysicist. He was working with jets,
L.
oh
Ron
man,
weirdo too. He practiced like weird occult things. Um,
it might have been him.
it might have been,
No,
and there was also another one. There's also another guy, Carl Sagan. He dabbled in the occult and the psychic with spirituality, like talking to ghosts and things like that.
yeah,
I read a book of his about demons whenever I was in prison, and
yeah.
he like correlating them to aliens, like space aliens, but in the sense of angels and demons in a spiritual world, not so much a just different races of beings.
Well, King
But,
James that also
he was
translated the Bible.
drawing the connections there.
He had a book about demonology that he had wrote
King Solomon,
before the Bible.
whole grimoire, the Lesser Key of Solomon. He's got a whole book of magic, and he named all the demons, and he had dominion over them. He commanded the demons, and
Yeah,
he was one of God's highest priests.
yeah.
Yeah. I have read the Saran Bible, and it's a philosophical based book to reverse the beliefs of Catholic Church and their dictatorship and to teach people to be more self conscious.
See, that's another thing. There's
I have,
not a lot of Catholics in our area either. I mean, back home, I think that, we do have a Catholic church and Darren Jenkins, but, I think, maybe they don't feel too welcome in our county either. There's you know, a lot of things that I think they made people so scared of them that, we just grew up not knowing things about stuff like that, you
yeah.
know?
I love this. Do y'all ladies believe that us families from Appalachia and Eastern Kentucky have a generational gift? My gift comes from my mom. She had it. I believe that it's inherited. A lot of gifted women in Eastern Kentucky. Yes, that is
Yes.
absolutely 100% true.
But then they tell you your whole life growing up, that's not a gift, it's a curse. And
Uh,
sometimes it can be,
yeah,
it's hard being able, some things.
yeah, the devil.
The devil, yeah,
No, it's not. But yeah, and the psychic abilities and stuff like that's what runs in my family real strong. My sister is crazy good at like practical things. Like she'll dream something and then like tell you like this is going to
it'll
happen.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah, it does. And but now with me, I have like prophetic dreams or premonitions where I will dream it or see it, but I can't like put it in place in time.
yeah,
But then when it happens, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I knew that was happening. I saw that in my dream last night, or a couple days
right.
ago.
You're not surprised by it,
Yeah, I'm not surprised by it. at all. Um,
See, Farrah's is dreams. She
and
dreams.
I was pregnant with Leah. My senses, I was so sensitive to everything, and I
Yeah,
thought I was losing my mind. And it wasn't that I wasn't going crazy. It was that I was like existing in all 15 fucking realms or something the whole time I was pregnant. I swear. I
yeah,
felt like I was, I don't know, it was just like, talk about overstimulation. My dream,
very.
I didn't sleep the whole time I was pregnant. It was crazy. I puked and puked and puked and puked and puked. And I don't think it was physical. I think it was because like her abilities and stuff were just so strong in my body, and on top of my own.
Yeah,
It, it was really intense.
yeah,
Yeah. And we've got this telepathy thing that's just crazy. We're like better than uh, twins at the
yeah.
telepathy. Um,
You do with your children. I've noticed that. We pick up something ain't right.
especially
There's been many times I've called
on
you and been like, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Well, the night before I found out what had happened with Sarah. If you remember, I called you. I said, I've got a horrible feeling. I've got the worst feeling. We all had that feeling that day of heavy, just heaviness. And, and I always tell everybody that I talk to, follow your gut, follow your gut. And that was one time I didn't. I should have, but I didn't.
every time I didn't, I've always been like I knew better.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
You kind of beat yourself up for it. Like, man, why didn't I listen to
it's
myself?
not wrong. It's never wrong. Yeah.
Oh, and I'll tell you a neat little fact too about my situation. I'm adopted. So, I didn't find out about my biological family until I was 40. So, I had went 40 years wondering, where does this come from? Because nobody else in my family was weird like me, you know. So, but then, when I found that my biological family, pieces started fitting, and it was like, oh, so my grandmother, yeah, okay, okay, it kind of made sense then,
Yeah.
because I went 40 years like I'm just weird.
Yeah.
I'm weird, don't know why.
And it's the men folk that say that as a
And the
control.
religious
It's
trauma,
the women, yes.
Ty.
The,
You know me.
yeah.
The religion and stuff that I grew up with made me beat myself up for my gifts. I wouldn't use them. I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't nothing. I mean, it was because in my mind I thought it's evil. It's evil. It's evil. It's evil. Just kind of push it over here and don't, just ignore it. But it's when it's part of you, you can't. It's hard to.
Yeah.
It's hard to. But that's another thing of control. Is to convince you that something that is a gift is
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, it does. It doesn't mean we love Jesus and God any less, and
Right.
which I know they're the same, but
I
but
just don't like the
you know,
human corruption of what it is. I trust what God's shown me over what these men
I'll
that
pray. I'm
that
dealing with this morning. Oh,
is it.
definitely prayers. J-
Oh, it
My
is.
mother, my mother is that's what's wrong with her, and it kills me. That we had to put her in a nursing home, but we couldn't give her the care at home with dad sick and me in my shape that I'm in, and it is, it's a struggle, but I told dad the other day, I'm kind of glad in a way that she don't know what's going on right now with the kids and, and things. Um, because my mom is a worrywart and she would have worried herself sick. So But yeah, when they go with dementia, it's hard. It's hard. The first time she thought Sarah was me, it broke my heart.
Oh,
Because she
yeah.
kept kind of looking over at me like, "Who are you?" Because I used to always be heavy. I used to be heavy. So for now, I'm, a lot smaller than I used to be. She just kind of looks at me sometimes like, "Who are you?" Who are you? Where'd you come from? But, you know, I love her,
But
but it is hard to deal with it. Not great. So, yes, very independent. And it's hard to take that independence. I wouldn't want somebody taking my independence, for me. And I know MS is going to cruelly do that to me eventually anyway. But there's no easy way handling it with your parents. You know, I'm the child, not the parent. I don't want to ever, you know,
yeah,
make it seem otherwise, but sometimes you have to, and it's hard, you know.
accepting their decline because they're so independent and prideful. Yeah.
And like I said, we all know it's coming. Some of us, it's coming faster than others. I told Ty that's one of the reasons too. The stuff with the babies has really tore me up because 6 months from now I may not be walking. I'm going to try my best, but you never know with MS what's going to happen. And man, losing time is just it's like a thief, and it's hard.
Yes. Oh my God. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
Yeah, Ty.
You want
Um,
to come up?
Ty, oh, go ahead. I'll let you do it.
You have a group on Facebook, or yes, I have a Facebook. It's Tya Lanu Adams, or you can just type in Tya Adams and found it. And then there's also Lexi's Place Homes for Wayward Women. There's a group, and we just got monetized, and we can have we can get y'all can have a subscription now. You can get subscriptions, and that comes with a bunch of like in-depth shadow work content, like transmuting alchemy content. And there's different tiers and stuff. It works kind of the way this buy me a coffee thing does. Um,
Yeah, I just figured that out. That was neat.
so yeah, let's see. Brandy's is up there at the top. Her Brandy's buy me a coffee. Here's Lexi's GoFundMe. Let's put that up there for a second
Okay.
for Lexi's place. Um, and then we can support this stream.
This is also new, and I was proud of myself. I figured out the coffee thing this morning. I was like, yes. Because normally I sit there and struggle. So,
Well, that one has to go in that spot. Okay, I see now. I thought I could turn both of those on at the same time, but I can't.
but it didn't.
No. And don't forget, if you want to check out the jewelry, you can access it through the buy me a coffee link, and it'll be on the Shopify store soon too, which will be linked up soon, hopefully to.
And
And
we have Cash App and things like that too. But
my brand new memoir, Awakening Through Shadows: A Journey of Survival. What happened? I lost
it
it.
went. It's not there. Where'd it
Sorry,
go?
I don't know where it went. Okay, wait, save. Oh shoot! I hit the button again. Awakening
There's it.
Through Shadows: A Journey of Survival, Spirit, and Transformation. So, all right, guys. It's been a good one. Dustin came out
This
looking for me a minute ago. I need to go find him and see if he's okay, if he wants to get up and have some lunch or something. I bet he does. It's about time
so
for
we
him.
just did our little morning coffee, our little kind of
Back on later, and we should
hit
have
something.
something about the whole corruption thing later this evening. We just wanted to lighten it up a little bit. So,
Right, just something different to just let everybody kind of
deal with.
see us, kind of see more of us, the real us, and then, you know, we'll jump right back into the serious. I need to run it. Okay, Genevieve. What?
Found that one looking for Lexi's group page. Genevieve said, I need to run away. Talk with you later. Lori, thank you.
Love.
Yes. All right, guys. Y'all have a good evening. Stay magic.
And we'll see y'all this